We began with ties between the United States and Canada, which have now reached a new low. On Monday, President Donald Trump said he would not meet with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney for a while, following Washington's decision to increase tariffs on Canadian goods by an additional 10%. When asked by reporters aboard Air Force One whether he would actually meet with the Canadian leader during the upcoming Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, the president replied that he had no plans to do so. President Trump's comments come after the administration recently halted trade talks with Canada, citing concerns over a political ad produced by the province of Ontario. The advertisement featured the voice of former President Ronald Reagan, who in the 1980s warned that high tariffs hurt American consumers and businesses. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Foundation later said the ad misrepresented his remarks, and President Trump called the ad fake. The president ended bilateral discussions with Canada shortly after that, saying the ad misused Reagan's words. Now, President Trump's latest remarks also come after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney on Monday said he remains open to dialogue with Washington. And speaking on the sidelines of the regional summit in Malaysia, Carney told reporters he was ready to resume talks and described the suspension of negotiations as unexpected.
The President knows that I'm available to speak to the President, as I always would be, as you would expect. As President of the United States, so of course, make myself available and make myself available for other world leaders as they wish to. We will both be in APEC. Canada's a member of APEC. I mean, we're going to be there, very much so.
Prime Minister Carney also noted that considerable progress had in fact been made in discussions on steel, aluminum, energy before the talks were terminated. Carney said he hasn't been in contact with the president since Trump terminated trade talks on Thursday. However, he did confirm that he would meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the upcoming APEC summit in South Korea. He said their conversation would focus on trade relations and broader global economic developments. And the meeting with Xi is seen as part of Canada's efforts to maintain stable partnerships amid trade uncertainty with the United States. The Trump administration has already imposed several rounds of tariffs on Canadian products, including a 35% levy on various imports. In fact, Canada is the only G7 country to not have a trade agreement with the United States at this time. These measures have had a notable impact on Canadian manufacturers, particularly in Ontario, where a significant share of goods are exported to the U.S. Roughly 3/4 of Canada's total exports go to the United States, leaving its economy exposed to an escalation in trade restrictions. Earlier this month, relations between the two leaders appeared, in fact, more cordial, with Carney visiting the White House to meet with the president in what was described as a friendly exchange. During that meeting, Carney also tried to woo President Trump, saying that he wore a red tie for the president. However, the recent tariff hike and the dispute over the ad, which according to Premier Doug Ford of Ontario, has now garnered more than 11 billion views, has shifted the tone of engagement between the two governments. For now, trade relations between Washington and Ottawa remain uncertain, with tariff disputes and political differences continuing to shape the conversation. How both governments navigate these issues will in fact shape the economic outlook for both countries, as the tariffs in fact continue to cause enormous damage on both sides of the border.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.